No one in MaKena village slept that night. The scream tore through the darkness like a spear. Sharp, sudden, and filled with a fear no child should ever know. Dogs began to howl. Chickens scattered. And the night itself seemed to hold its breath. Inside the hut, little Zoe's eyes were wide open. But she was no longer seeing this world. Her pupils trembled in the firelight, reflecting something ancient, something angry, something that did not belong to her. Her mother dropped to her knees, crying her name. Her father shouted for help, his voice shaking the walls. But no one knew what to do. Because this was not sickness. And this was not madness. Outside the hut, hidden between moonlight and shadow, an old woman stood completely still. She did not panic. She did not run. She watched. And slowly, she smiled. Doors burst open across the village. Bare feet struck the red earth as people ran toward the scream. Fear moved faster than truth. And whispers were already being born. This was not an accident. This was not fate. This was jealousy. Given breath. Given hands. Given a target. In a land where the earth was red and warm, and the wind carried stories from one generation to the next, there stood a village called MaKena. The houses were round, built with mud and love, their roofs woven with grass that whispered when the night wind passed. Every evening, drums spoke where mouths grew tired. Children laughed freely, goats wandered without fear, and the elders said MaKena was protected by the ancestors themselves. But even in the happiest village, shadows could grow. And sometimes, the darkest shadows belonged to those who smiled the widest during the day. Her name was MaKena. She lived at the edge of the village where the trees grew thick and the sun arrived late. While others joined celebrations, MaKena watched. While others clapped for joy, her hands stayed still. People said she was quiet, but silence can hide many things. MaKena had once dreamed of love, of respect, of being admired. But life had passed her by, and bitterness had taken root in her heart like a stubborn weed. Each laugh she heard felt like an insult. Each happy home felt like a reminder of what she did not have. In the center of MaKena lived Baba Tumo, his wife Nolia, and their only daughter Zoe. Their home was filled with warmth, not because of riches, but because of love. Baba Tumo's laughter could lift sadness, and Zoe's smile was said to chase away bad dreams. The ancestors had blessed this family, and everyone could see it. Everyone, especially MaKena. At night, MaKena whispered their names to the darkness. Baba Tumo, Nolia, Zoe. Each name burned her tongue. She does not deserve that joy, MaKena muttered. Jealousy is a dangerous teacher. It teaches lies slowly, until they sound like truth. And soon, MaKena believed the village owed her something she would take. Beyond the village lay a forest no child dared enter. It was said the spirits there listened, and sometimes replied. One moonless night, MaKena walked into that forest. She carried herbs, bones, and anger. The wind stopped. The owls fell silent. When she spoke, the forest listened. MaKena did not ask for death. No. She asked for something worse. She asked for separation. She asked that love turn to doubt, that laughter turn to suspicion, that the village turn against its own light. The next morning, Zoe did not smile. By sunset, she could not speak. By night, she screamed at shadows no one else could see. Villagers whispered. Maybe the ancestors are angry. Maybe Baba Tumo has offended someone. Fear spreads faster than truth. Villagers gathered in small groups whispering, worried faces, tense atmosphere. Old Mama Sefu, the village healer, looked into Zoe's eyes and saw something unnatural. This is jealousy, she said softly. And it has a face. Mama Sefu watched. She listened. She waited. Because truth, like the sun, always rises, but not in a hurry. MaKena grew restless. Her spell fed on fear, but fear began to weaken. One mistake. One careless word. And Mama Sefu knew. The drums called everyone to the center of the village. Truth stood naked. MaKena's silence broke. I was jealous, MaKena cried. And jealousy made me cruel. Forgiveness is harder than punishment. But Mwanga chose healing. Zay laughed again. The village breathed, forgiveness is harder than punishment. But Mwanga chose healing. Alone, MaKena faced herself for the first time. Elders taught the children. Jealousy is a hunger that never eats enough. Mwanga stood again, wiser. And so the story lived on. A warning. A memory. A truth. Years passed. Seasons changed. Children grew. Stories faded into memory. But jealousy does not age gracefully. It waits. Far from Mwanga, beyond rivers and hills. MaKena still lived. Exile had not softened MaKena's heart. It had sharpened it. Her hands still knew the language of dark herbs. Her lips still whispered bitter praise. And her jealousy had grown quieter, but deeper. Nearby stood another village, Nkola. Different people. Same laughter. And once again, a child stood at the center of joy. His name was Kito. Bright-eyed. Fearless. Loved. His laughter followed him like music. And when MaKena heard it, her heart tightened. That night, the forest remembered her. Bones were laid. Herbs burned. And jealousy was fed. The spell was weaker than before. But still dangerous. The next morning, Kito did not wake smiling. By nightfall, fear returned to a village that had never known it. Some shadows never leave. They only move. But this time, the village listened faster. And somewhere in the distance, the ancestors stirred. Because jealousy, left unchecked, always comes back. A shadow can be chased away once. But if it is never healed, it will always find another sun to envy.
No one will know peace.